One of the former sub-postmasters who is fighting for justice in the post office scandal is Janet Skinner. She was a branch manager in Hull, who had worked for the post office for 18 years. In 2007, she was accused of stealing £59,000 from her branch, based on faulty evidence from the Horizon IT system. She was pressured to plead guilty to false accounting, even though she had always maintained her innocence. She was sentenced to 9 months in prison, suspended for 2 years. She lost her job, her reputation, and her health. She suffered from depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. She also had to sell her home and move in with her parents. Janet Skinner is one of the 736 sub-postmasters who were prosecuted by the Post Office between 2000 and 2014, based on information from Horizon. The system, developed by Fujitsu, was used for tasks such as transactions, accounting, and stock-taking. But it had bugs and glitches that caused discrepancies and shortfalls in the accounts of many branches. Some sub-postmasters tried to cover the losses with their own money, while others faced criminal charges for theft, fraud, and false accounting. Many were convicted and sent to prison. Some lost their families, their homes, and their lives. In 2019, after a long legal battle, Janet Skinner and 554 other claimants won a landmark civil case against the post office. The court found that Horizon was not reliable and that the post office had acted unlawfully in its dealings with the sub-postmasters. The post office agreed to pay £58 million in damages, but only £12 million went to the claimants after legal fees were deducted. Janet Skinner received £300,000, but she said it was not enough to compensate for what she had been through. In 2020, Janet Skinner and 41 other sub-postmasters had their convictions quashed by the Court of Appeal. The judges said that the prosecutions were an affront to the public conscience, and that there had been a serious failure of investigation and disclosure by the post office. Janet Skinner said she felt vindicated and relieved, but also angry that it had taken so long to clear her name. In 2021, the government launched a public inquiry into the post office scandal, led by retired Judge Sir Win Williams. The inquiry is examining what went wrong with Horizon and how the post office handled the complaints and prosecutions of the sub-postmasters. It is also looking at the role of the government, which owns the post office, and Fujitsu, which supplied Horizon. The inquiry is expected to report its findings by autumn 2022. Janet Skinner is still fighting for justice and compensation. She wants a full apology from the post office and Fujitsu, as well as an independent review of her case by the Criminal Cases Review Commission. She also wants to see those responsible for the scandal held accountable and prosecuted for their actions. She said she will not rest until she gets justice for herself and for all the other sub-postmasters who have suffered because of Horizon. The legal battle between the post office and the sub-postmasters is still ongoing, despite a landmark settlement in 2019 that acknowledged the post office had wrongly prosecuted hundreds of sub-postmasters for theft, false accounting, and fraud based on faulty evidence from the Horizon IT system. The Horizon system, developed by Fujitsu, was introduced in 1999 and was used for accounting and transactions in post office branches. However, it had numerous bugs and glitches that caused discrepancies and shortfalls in the accounts of many sub-postmasters, who were then accused of stealing or mismanaging money. Some of them were sent to prison, others lost their livelihoods, reputations, and health, and some even took their own lives. The 2019 settlement awarded £58 million to 555 claimants who had sued the post office for damages, but after legal fees they only received a share of £12 million. Many of them felt that this was not enough to compensate for their suffering and losses, and that they deserved an apology and a full exoneration from the post office and the government. They also wanted to hold the post office and Fujitsu accountable for their actions and negligence, and to prevent such a scandal from happening again. Since then, more than 700 sub-postmasters have applied to have their convictions overturned by the Court of Appeal, and so far 83 of them have been successful. The post office has said it will not oppose most of the appeals, but some cases are still being contested.